Hello, I'm Kim Sauer at Apex 2017, joined by Jason Spera from Aegis. Now, Jason, it's great to see you here, and we've been talking a lot about Industry 4.0, and over the shows, it's really a theme that's taking grip in the industry. There's a lot to that discussion that's going on, and I want to focus on some of those aspects that are also that you can also hear as buzzwords: AI, AR, so augmented reality, artificial intelligence. In your view, where do they fit within that framework of Industry 4.0 developments?
Well, it's a good question, because Industry 4.0 and the phrase itself encompasses all the benefits we hope for. Is what would these factories ultimately look like? Adaptive, auto-correcting, making decisions at the cyber-physical level. Then there's the foundation to get there, all these technologies like Internet of Manufacturing, data exchange, and so forth. But when you get to AI, it really speaks to that benefit level, because no one has really built that out yet. If all this data was available freely and open, more data than we have from any factory now, well, what would you do with it? A human really can't process that and make the decisions, and that's not the point of Industry 4.0 anyway. The factory itself should make the decisions, which then logically leads to, well, we need some form of AI. The adaptive decisions and the self-improvement is an AI issue, really. And then augmented reality is about how do you distill that information in a way that humans can actually process it, right? So instead of just our normal interfaces we're used to, now you're talking about augmented reality interfaces that are taking this unbelievable mass of analytical data and making it available and usable to a human. So there's two levels. There's the how would the factory process and make valuable all this information, and then whatever falls out of that, how can a human actually deal with such a massive amount of information? So I think both those things are related, but they're down the road, as opposed to the IOM standards, which is how do we hope to ever get there. So it's kind of a roadmap we have to have.
Yeah, because you need that language. You need to have something as a basis for analytics.
Right. You have to have the data in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you need something to interpret that so that the human understands, or whatever process is involved. So you would see how would that translate, therefore, into a manufacturing environment once you've harvested that information? How does it actually then become reality in terms of AI and AR?
Well, this is looking ahead to pretty far ahead. Hopefully not too far ahead, but once the data acquisition and communication is worked out, now all of a sudden it leads you to assume you have a data structure somewhere that's massive and constantly populating, and then it goes to the analytics and the algorithms, which is the AI part. So now you have the factory making what will likely be autonomous decisions about that data and reacting to it. Well, as great as that is, that can't be completely without human supervision, can it? Because it could go awry. So you now have to have a way of supervisors or whomever walking down the lines, and I don't see that necessarily as just dashboards in the traditional sense that we're used to. I really see possibly augmented reality being, well, you have all these adaptive decisions, but you need a way for a human to easily be able to see what's actually going on, and that probably is where that technology will become very valuable in the factory.
And as with anything Industry 4.0, it needs to be a loop as well, doesn't it? So what's that overriding technology that's needed to connect the initial physical machines that are giving information, that are generating information and data, to those that analyze it, to those that then translate it into something that the human can understand? What's that umbrella that's needed?
Well, there's a lot of digital loops going on. There's the issue of the data coming up from the automation layer and then back down through commands or feedback. But then there's also the AI, or the intelligence engine, that's making the decisions and driving things back into the automation layer. But then there is, well, how do the humans see? Because if you imagine the gigantic scope of data there is, there has to be a way to see what's important. And that alone is a challenge. The adaptive and the auto-adaptive and decision-making is a big challenge algorithmically, but then it's how do you subset all of these activities so a human can then, and maybe with AR, they would actually be making decisions through the virtual interface to say, well, I want it to go more in this direction, or I think it should take that path, to effectively guide the adaptive engine to do what they think is best.
There are lots of tools that you already see, Google Glasses and interactivity within factories and lenses, and where people are already interacting on an augmented reality level. So you say, yes, we're looking at the future, but there are already signs on the manufacturing floor that are going in this direction, right?
Well, there are applications of AR today is going to be a bit different than AR in the near future. So, speaking to what we can do today, we literally can do things like complex work instructions. For example, we have customers where they're building massive systems, whether it be a spacecraft or something where the process is coming to the device, and in those cases, there is no facility to have a computer there. And augmented reality is actually valuable in that now you have an operator who has to have their hands free. There is no console in front of them, and yet they need a lot of information to do their job. So that's an immediate application of it that I think is actually very compelling.
The key, obviously, to all of this is the analytics that it goes with. So great look into that future, near future. Thank you very much for your time today, Jason.
Thank you for having me.